Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like no matter how much you work on your life, it still never quite feels like enough? Like you are trying, you are improving, and you're actually doing what you're supposed to do. But a part of you still feels like you're behind. And after a while, that feeling starts following you everywhere. When you're resting, when you're making progress, and even when technically everything is going right. So what if the reason you feel behind has less to do with progress and more to do with how you learn to look at it? And maybe you know this situation. You wake up and before the day even really starts, you already feel behind. You're looking at your life, where other people are and where you thought you'd be by now. And your brain immediately starts measuring the gap. So even when you are doing good things, going to the gym, working on yourself and trying to build something, it still doesn't fully register. And after a while, that changes how your whole life feels. Downtime starts making you feel guilty. Progress feels slow. And you don't even really know this feeling of going to bed and being satisfied with the day anymore. And honestly, it makes sense why you feel that way. Because if you want to build a good life, you kind of have to think about progress. You have goals, standards, and a picture of how your life should look like. And when you care about those things, of course, your brain starts comparing. Where am I right now? Where should I be? And how far do I still have to go? Because that comparison can actually help you. It can motivate you, push you forward, and keep you from becoming complacent. So naturally, when you feel behind, you start believing that the solution is just to make more progress. That once you get to where you want to be, you'll finally feel okay. But think about this. You already know that reaching your goals will take time, and you are already making progress. So why does it still feel wrong? Now listen, if you are the person I think you are, the problem usually isn't that you're not doing enough. It's the way you learn to measure yourself. Right now, you're mostly measuring your life by where you are, in relation to where you think you should be, where other people are, and where you expected yourself to be by now. And the moment that becomes your main way of measuring yourself, you also lose control over how you see yourself. Because where you are right now isn't fully in your control. It's the result of what you've been doing for weeks, months, or mostly even years. But your brain doesn't really look at it that way. It looks at the current result and treats that as proof of whether you're doing well or not. So even when you are putting in the effort, when you go to the gym 5 times a week, work on your goals and try to improve your life pretty much every day, it still doesn't feel like enough. Because your brain keeps comparing your current reality to where you think you should already be. And at some point, you stop experiencing your life through what you're actually doing and start experiencing it only through this gap. The gap between where you are and where you think you should be. And that's the moment where you start robbing yourself of all the joy you could have had in the process. Not because you're failing, not because you're lazy, and not because your life is objectively bad, but because your expectations and your way of measuring yourself quietly disconnected from reality. Because the truth is, you can't control where you are right now. You can only control what you put in, day after day, week after week, month after month, and even year after year. And when you are actually putting in the work, beating yourself up for not being where you want to be isn't discipline. It just makes you miserable. So this doesn't mean you should stop trying. It doesn't mean that goals are bad, and it doesn't mean that you should stop improving your life. But you already know that. It just means that you can't base your whole sense of peace of where you are right now. Because if you do, life will always feel like a problem you haven't solved yet. You will always feel like the real thing is coming somewhere in the future. And the weird part is, the more you care about improving your life, the easier it gets to completely miss the life you already have. So instead of constantly asking yourself, am I far enough yet? Maybe the better question is, am I moving in the right direction? Because where you are right now isn't final. It's just the result of where you started and what you've been repeatedly doing over time. But if you keep showing up, keep building and keep improving, your life will change. But if you spend the entire process thinking about where you already should be by now, you rob yourself of the ability to actually feel the life you are building. Then maybe your life will look good from the outside, but internally it will still feel like you're not there yet. And that's why doing everything right can still feel wrong.